Happy Monday morning, everyone. I'm Stacy Turner. Welcome to our DMOpro call. We hope you had a great weekend. And today I wanted to discuss two different business terms that a lot of people that own a business use, but for some reason, it's really not used or discussed within network marketing, at least not in the 20 years that I have been with this company. So I started to hear this word, both of them, from my son, who has a social media agency that he created and that he runs, and he has his own business. And he started using the words, him and his dad were talking, and my husband also owns a business, and then we own a couple more businesses together. So very entrepreneur minded, business minded, which I think is why my training often goes to sort of like business training, because I feel like we don't always take our business with Juice Plus as serious as a business as we could. And we often just kind of say, I just want to help people. I just want to share, something that's working for me. And it's almost like we're afraid to say we sell something or that we have a business. And I would also say it kind of in the marketplace or in just everyday life, it doesn't have the same, I don't want to say respect, but possibly that's the word. I've mentioned before, my people will talk to us and they'll ask my husband, how's your business doing? How's business going? They ask him all the time. But I mean, I can count on two hands maybe over the years that anyone has ever asked me, Stacy, how's your business doing? Even family, nobody. So probably people don't take it as serious as a business. Maybe that's because we don't take it as serious as a business. But I just want to kind of bring back the professionalism, or bring to mind the professionalism of what we do, because what we do is really good work. What we're doing is really impactful, and it's a place where we're getting personal growth and connection and development that outside of this, I just don't see that happening in my own life. So I'm very grateful for this type of business. And I've always thought of it as a business. If I'm going to do something, I want to do it right. Those were my words 3 weeks in when I was doing events, or when I was just sharing information with people. I wasn't getting orders, but I recognized the person above me was getting orders, and the person above them was getting orders, and the person above them was getting orders. So it wasn't the product, it wasn't the company, it wasn't the type of business we were in. I was the issue. And what needed to change? What was I doing wrong? What wasn't I doing? And I wasn't following a system. I was just doing it my own way. And so that's when I said to Sharon, okay, if I'm going to do this, I want to do it right. And so I really did seriously start taking it as a business that I had even early on. And I wanted to get a return on my investment. So an ROI, that's one of those words my son was tossing around, and he and my husband were saying, what's the ROI on that? And ROI. And I was like, what are you guys talking about? What is that? And they said, it's return on investment. So when you invest in something within your business, what's the return that you get for that? So if you make a lot of investment and you're not getting a lot of return, then you need to question, is that a good investment to make? So let's use my conversations at the beginning of my business. I was talking to a lot of people. I had a cassette tape. I was handing out that cassette tape, but nobody was ordering. Nobody, except for my family. But I had friends that I just knew they were going to do this with me, weren't even interested. The conversations weren't going anywhere. So I was like, what's the deal here? This investment that I'm making and talking to people, I'm not getting any return. What needs to change? And so I talked with Sharon, and I was like, I am talking to people, but they're not really interested. So, or, something, but I know that this is good for them. I want to help them, but I can't help them until they actually take it. And so she was like, you're right. Let's do an event together. So she had been telling me that from the beginning, but I wasn't listening. I wanted to present it my own way. So we put a couple of different events on the books. I started inviting, and I brought the people to Sharon. Sharon had a stronger belief than I did. She had more confidence than I did. She had more information presentation than I did. She was able to present better than I was because she had been doing this for quite a while. And so her return on that investment and getting people in front of her, investing in doing an event, investing in the time of, getting the supplies ready, the invitations to everyone, the mental capacity to like be brave and invite someone, all of that. Once I got them in front of her, she was able to help them be confident enough to move forward with the ordering process. And so I saw it worked and I was like, let's do that again. So we just did like 5 of them in about a month and a half, because that's how much time I had left to get to QSC. And so we did 5 in the next, I think it was like 6 weeks, and we got orders, and the orders started coming in, the points started coming in, and we had to have 20 fruit and vegetable orders at that time. 20 duo orders was what got you to virtual franchise, is what it was called. So QSC. And it was just kind of like one by one at those events they came in. And so that return on investment got higher when I was doing the activity that really made a difference. So that's a return on investment. And we're going to come back to that one. Okay, so we're going to swing back around to that. But the second one is, if you've heard this word, scaling your business. Now, in our world, we would say, I want to grow my business, or I want my business to grow. And even within those two sentences, those two phrases, it's sort of passive, like, I want my business to grow. If I plant a seed and I want that seed to plant, I can water it, but it'll sprout. If there's sunlight and there's water, that plant will sprout and it will grow. There may not be a lot that I have to do to that plant to make it grow, right? Like I kind of have to provide some things, but it's sort of a little bit passive. Even saying I want to grow my business, it can feel a little bit like a passive, like it's on other people's, change, or like whatever they're doing, or on their schedule. So we just want to make sure we're putting it back in our hands. So when we're really thinking about scaling our business versus business growth. So I'm trying to think of like how to word this the best way. Scaling your business is really about like putting systems in place. In fact, I copied something kind of like a definition, and my husband and I were talking through this, and there were some of them were like, oh, I wouldn't have thought of it that way, but I felt like this was a good definition. Scaling a business means setting the stage to enable and support growth in your company. It means having the ability to grow without being hampered. It requires planning, some funding, the right systems, staff, processes, technologies, partners. So think of it that way. It's like, if I want my business to grow, what does that look like, right? So if I'm going to have business growth within our business, I'm going to have to do something to grow the business. And for us, that's talking to people. Like that's the thing that grows our business the most. So we've got to get whoever gets the presentation in front of the most people, or the most eyes on the presentation, whether that's one-on-one conversation, a video that they're watching, they're coming to an event, a larger Zoom event that you're inviting to, whatever, like whoever gets the most people to watch the presentation or have a conversation, that's the person who's going to have their business growing. Like, to me, that's what it really filters down to. Are you talking to enough people? And then we have the side of following up with people, right? So if you don't have a system in place to follow up well, then that process or that system is going to be, hindered, because you can only talk to so many people if you're not tracking the conversations. If you don't have effective follow-up, if there's no system in place, then you're going to falter. Conversations are going to fall through the crack, and you're not going to see a return on that investment of time of talking to them. Does that make sense? So scaling your business is not just growth. So talking to people, more people, is going to be the growth. The scaling side is going to be the system in place to help you do that effectively. So if talking to more people is what really does grow our business, then scaling our business would be, an example would be getting a team underneath us, because I can only talk to so many people. I only have so many hours in the day. But if I have team members that are also talking to people, then that's going to scale my business because it's not all dependent on me. It's a system that can be learned and duplicated outside of just the conversations I'm going to have. Another example would be me growing my business, inviting to an event, copy, paste to someone, copy, paste, change the name, copy, paste, copy, paste, copy, paste, copy, paste. That could take me 30 minutes to invite 20 people. Or I could scale my business using a system called Project Broadcast, type it out one time, send it to 200 people in one time, 1 second. That message of invitation goes out to 200 people or however many people I have in that list, right? So that would be a scaling my business. It's putting a system in place that maximizes your time, doesn't require more effort for me to do that, except for upfront to learn Project Broadcast, to import your contacts, to figure out how it works. And there is an investment in that. But the return on that investment, the ROI that I'm going to get from that, can be exponential. Using social media to me is scaling my business. I can have one-on-one conversations, or I can post consistently. And then as people, see that post that's coming in, or, just out there on social media, there's eyes on it that I didn't have to personally see. So to me, using Facebook is a way to, or social media is a way to scale my business if it's done correctly. If I'm just stuck on there scrolling forever, is the return on my investment of time, is that well done? If I'm never messaging people that are liking or commenting on my post, if I'm not sending them videos, if I'm not following up with them, then the return on my investment of posting on social media is going to be low. It's going to be dependent upon only them contacting me, right? Versus me being proactive and contacting them. So whatever investment you're going to make sure you're going to get a return on it, that you are getting a return on it. And if you're not, why not? So another scaling your business idea or suggestion, I would say, you can have one-on-one conversations with people, which work. That's important too. Meeting person, for coffee or for lunch and talking to them one-on-one. Or you could host an event and invite 20 people, have 5 people come, have one conversation with 5 people, and the return is going to be stronger because of social proof of other people saying, I take this, I like it, these are the changes I've had, or yeah, that makes sense to me, I'm going to order. They have the order forms out. Other people see other people ordering. They don't feel like, oh, this is crazy, I'm willing to invest in this whacked out fruits and veggies in a capsule. They're like, okay, this makes sense to them too. So it can, I'm not crazy to think it would make sense to me. So there's social proof in an event that way. So the return on investment would be greater because I've got more people's eyes in front of the presentation, but the event was a way that I scaled my business versus just talking one-on-one to people. So I want us to think about that this week as we're doing activity. If I'm talking to people, but I never get their contact information, right? Like we've all done that, where you're like, I had this great conversation, this stranger, I didn't know her, but we really had this connection. And so I gave her my information and she said she was going to order off my website. The chances of that happening are so slim. In 20 years, I really can't even tell you a story that I know that happened. It's so rare. It has always depended upon me following up with them. So if we're going to invest in having conversations, we want the conversations to be effective, to have a return on them. So we want to put that back in our hands by asking for their contact information, for getting their contact information. And that doesn't have to be awkward. You can just say, I'd love to send you some videos to learn more, or hey, are you on social media? I'd like to stay connected. Whatever it is, just get their information. Most people will give it to you, even if they're not going to give you their phone number. Like if they kind of hesitate, then just go to the social media. Are you on Facebook? Let's find each other. I'd love to be friends. And they're like, oh, okay. And they'll, find them right there on the phone, so that it doesn't get like, oh, I'll find you later. What's your name? You may not be able to know which person that is by that name. So do it there in person. Okay, I sent you the friend request. Did you get it? And then they're like, oh, okay, she really means it. Like, get their phone out. Oh, I got it. Awesome. Okay, I'll send you a message, and then send in the message right then. Hi, this is Stacy, and then send it to them, and then say later this afternoon or whatever, I'll send you some videos. But you got to make sure you get that their contact information, or the investment of the conversation is going to have a very, very small return. So I would love to hear from you guys. What are some other systems that we can have in our business that's going to help us scale the business? And then something else that might be a good example of a return on investment, an ROI. Does anything come to mind for you guys?
Hey, Stacy, it's Beth.
Hey, Beth.
Hey, sorry, I'm not on camera. I'm trying to get ready for a work trip real quick. But I did have one example that has worked for me recently, and it has in the past, and I just reinstated it. But as far as return on investment, I've had a couple good, successful boot camp / salad jar or Buddha bowl parties. And the biggest difference that I did is I started bringing order forms to the party. So I actually had people order at the event, even though they were interested before. I may not have had the order form. And now that I have the order form, I've got multiple orders every time. So that's just for me, an easy one to incorporate.
Exactly. That's exactly right. So to have a higher return, higher paycheck, we've got to have people that actually order. So passing out the order form at an event is an excellent example. Thank you, Beth. Anyone else?
Stacy, I just wanted to say, this is Lisa, that yesterday I did that thing you were just talking about with, I met a young lady on a bus, and actually, no, it was the other day, and I was on the phone with my woman getting my flight for the conference. And so I said, I'd love to share with you some blah, blah, blah. And she's like, oh, and you can, so she gave me her phone number. And then she said something about I said, oh, are you on Facebook too? Maybe we can connect that way also. And she's like, yeah. And so at that time I'm looking her up, and I said, well, I can't find you. She's like, oh, I just had to put my account private and spell my name like this. So I totally agree and that has happened to me the other way before, where I haven't done it, and it's really important. So I just to piggyback off that.
Yes. It takes a investment of our mind, our capacity to have the conversation, to be brave, to talk with the lady that's helping you with your plane ticket. That's really brave, to get into the conversation, to find a way to start it. We don't want to waste that. And then if you do, it just kind of creates doubt. But because she got the information, that built confidence in that conversation, to where she's more likely to step out and do that again, because she did get the lady's contact information, and she knows it wasn't wasted time to start it, but then not have a way to follow up. So great example. Thank you. Anyone else?
Well, Stacy, this is Mary Ellen. Well, I love this conversation, first of all. So thank you for this information. It's incredibly valuable. But, and I was like thinking, can I think of something? And I did. I thought about Shelley Mackey's teaching on the Wheel of Success, and getting people to sign up as a partner to help them get their $100 to pay for their product. And so when somebody is placing an order, for us to hesitate to share with them the opportunity is not scaling our investment, because there is a chance that when we say to them, would you like, there is a way for you to offset the cost of your product, or even get your Juice Plus paid for. And with the amount of product that you're purchasing, I would love to help you do that. Is that something we can chat about? they may very well say yes. And then next thing you know, not only do you have your customer, but you also have an event planned, because obviously the next step would be, well, let's do an event at your house and blah, blah, blah. But that's something I just did last month. And, every once in a while, your brain is blown and somebody invites 8 people and you're like, okay. So, but yeah.
Yes, that's a great example too. When people have ordered is when they are the most excited. And so my 19-year-old joined my team last month because she had spoken to her boss about our product and her boss ordered. And I was like, Ansley, you're doing what I do. Like she could do the presentation for me. They know this. My kids do. Like, they've heard the conversation. They've grown up in this. I mean, I took it as my prenatal with them. They've had it their whole lives. And all of them as teenagers have come back on their own, now taking it on their own faithfully. Like, it was their idea. Just be patient with teenagers if they're not taking it regularly. My son's 21 and the girls are still teens. And so I was like, you're doing this, you might as well get paid for it. And she was like, all right. So it kind of snowballed after that. There was another person she talked to and another person that she talked to. And then I had some conversations with mutual friends of ours that I was like, well, they could go under her too. Like, she knows them well. So in the end, we got her to QSC, and her cousin, my niece, had reached out, and I was like, hey, she said, this was my my niece's response. Hey, Stacy, I was going to be an adult or Aunt Stacy, I was going to be an adult and order my own Juice Plus, but man, it's so expensive. And I was like, what are you talking about? So we just kind of started chatting, and I was like, it's not that price. I don't know what you saw, but think about it from this way. You work at Smoothie King. How much is one smoothie on average? $10. Okay. How much is the shake on average that we have? $2.58. That's not, and she was like, oh, that's not expensive. I was like, no, it's not expensive. So we started talking it through. She became a team member. In all, it was less than 30 days that we got Ansley to QSC, and it was really exciting. But one of her boss had ordered on her own. We didn't even know what she ordered. And I said, Ansley, like, she ordered to perform omegas and the tree order. That's a significant number of points. Like, we should invite her, see if she wants to be a team member. And Ansley's first response was, no, let's just let her stay as a customer. Like, maybe in 4 months she'll have a good experience and then she'll want to talk to other people. Total rookie mistake, right? And as a leader, I can't leave her in that mental capacity. She doesn't know what she doesn't know. And I said, is that what you see me do with my business? And she was like, no. And I said, why doesn't she get to decide that? Like, she's excited about ordering. She ordered this much of, like, she invested in it. Let's ask her, if she wants to join, let's just give her the option. And so we did. And she immediately wrote back, yeah, I'm super interested in that. Tell me more about it. So in the end, she ended up with 6 team members because we just kept asking that. So Ansley didn't get 3,600 points herself. She got a couple of orders and she ordered shake for herself, but all of the rest of those points came from new team members that were excited. And now we're working to get them to Partner Plus. And so that's another great example. Like, when they're the most excited, that's when you invite them in. They may say, no, not right now, but then you've planted the seed and you can water it through follow-up and another video and an invitation to another event. And then, maybe 4 months when their order does ship, they're ready, or they end up sharing the product with their spouse and in 2 months they need more. And then you revisit that. But it's having the conversation, letting them decide that, give them the option to look into that versus keeping it to yourself. We're going to be hesitant and tend to hold back, especially if you're new. That hesitancy, remember, that's resistance. We want to be resilient. We want to move forward with that. Don't listen to resistance. Don't listen to the little voice that says, stay small, keep the customers yourself. Be bold and just be brave and ask support from your upline. How should I word this? She ordered these things. How could I invite her in? She knows people I don't know. That's the thing. That's a way to scale your business, is building your team. So excellent example, Mary Ellen. Thank you. Anyone else? I saw a couple of chat things in here. Any tips on scaling your business from an organization standpoint? So that's what Joan asked. I would say our DMO planner is a system, right? So if you're not tracking conversations, again, if you're having the conversations, but you're not tracking them, then the return on investment isn't going to be very good because you forget. And then follow-up is delayed so long, people lose interest and you forget to follow back around with them. So I would say organization, if that's what you're meaning, Joan, if that's not what you're meaning, you can unmute and give us some more detail. But I would definitely say the DMO planner is a way to scale your business by creating a system. What is your system? What are your systems? Boards is a system that definitely helps scale our business because it's easy to send information to them. We're not spending time out there looking for the video. We're not visiting all these different websites. Our team knows where to go to for information. So I think Boards is an excellent organization of information to where it just is easy to transfer that to somebody else. Definitely Project Broadcast. I would say, again, Jill Wagner's Facebook tips of what to post every day. She texts you 6 days a week of an idea of what to post, creates consistency. It gets your message and who you are. She doesn't just focus on Juice Plus, but gives you other ideas of what to post, and it keeps you relevant in social media or Facebook's eyes to where more of your friends see it. That's an organizational thing. It's one less thing you have to think about, but it's directed towards our business. So I think that's an organizational tip that could be helpful. Do you guys have any other ideas? Is that what you were meaning, Joan?
Yes, Stacy, that's great. And I have your planner and love the boards. I need to jump into Project Broadcast. And any tips as far as from a paper standpoint, are you guys saving? Yeah, I just want to minimize and move forward.
Sure. Let me mention this other one. I have an idea on if you work full time, maybe you have to hire an assistant. Maybe it could be okay, just to give you an example, when my kids were little, I hired a young gal. She was like 13 down the street just to come. I was homeschooling that year. When she got home from school, she would come for like 2 hours and just play with the kids at the house, which gave me 2 hours during the afternoon to work on my business. So that's an idea of scaling your business. You invest in something that's going to give you more time. So if you work full time, maybe you hire a virtual assistant to do the Project Broadcast stuff for you. If you don't have the hours, there's people that do that. That's like you can hire them for a certain amount, either by hour or by month, to add your new team members into that, whatever that looks like. So maybe an assistant, when Colin was building his business, he had to hire somebody who had skills that he didn't have because he didn't know how to do the videos and the marketing side of things. He hired somebody who already had that skill set. He paid them to do that. So is there someone you could hire, maybe like making flyers? I would say Canva is easy to learn. You're just going to have to invest in watching some videos and then play around with it. But if that just end up taking 2 hours of your time, is there somebody on your team that likes to do that? Could you pay her $10 a flyer or whatever it is? I know there's people within our Juice Plus business that will do that too. So is somebody else have a skill set that you don't have, that you're not willing to take the time to learn? Like, it wouldn't be wise. Can you pay them to do that for you, to take over that part of it? Maybe somebody that is a doctor that has patients that they see every day, you could get somebody to be your wellness coordinator. That's a way to scale your business because you can talk to people, but then the follow-up gets handed off to somebody else. So it doesn't have to just be a doctor. It could be a hairdresser. It could be I don't know, different people that you have a profession that your time is super limited. I don't think it's as effective as if you're the one following up, but that is an option to kind of hire, if you will, because it splits the paycheck of a wellness coordinator within Juice Plus. It's a system that's already created within the company to be able to handle the load of a lot of conversations that are being had and then passing that information off to somebody else to follow up with them. So those are two examples. As far as paperwork, a lot of my note taking has been taken, from just pieces of paper everywhere to in my planner, to where I'm writing things down in the planner itself. So I'm not having as many papers, but QuickBooks, if you guys don't use that for taxes, that makes easy when you connect it to your bank account, and then it downloads all of your transactions, and then you can sort the transactions. So having a specific account for your Juice Plus business is also helpful. And then when you're using that card for business things, then you're able to put it into the categories that it is. That would be a system that could be helpful in tracking that sort of thing. Anything else? Anyone else have any ideas to go with what Joan was asking?
Yeah, that was great, Stacy. Thank you so much. You truly are an inspiration.
Oh, you're welcome. Any other words to add in? We're already at 9:30. All right. I'm going to stop the recording here then.